you made the point in a recent video, I haven't heard a celebrity mention Scientology in years. And is it because of the Going Clear documentary and some of these stories that have gotten out where it's just like associating with it is not good?
I really do. Well, I think that they would say it's not that they're embarrassed to talk about it. It's that they realize that the evil, psych-controlled, pharma-controlled media is going to twist anything they say into the worst way possible, and that the best thing to do is to just tell people to buy and read a book. Like they would probably say, it's not that we're embarrassed, it's that we're not going to give the media fodder to attack Scientology by virtue of us mentioning it. Like if we mention it, we open the door, then they're going to talk about Leah Remini, they're going to talk about Alex Gibney, they're going to talk about Mike Rinder, they're going to talk about Xenu. So they're probably looking at it as the best strategy, even for Scientology, to stop talking about it so much. It's a little counterintuitive, right? Because it does seem like they're in retreat. But you might go, well, why did Tom stop talking about Scientology? I think he convinced himself that it was causing Scientology more harm. It was creating a new vector of attack from big pharma and big psych. This is how Scientologists think. That it was great while it lasted. You know, it at least got the word out there. No press is bad press. And then, but it does seem like someone along the line was like, well, maybe not all press is good press. Maybe some press is bad press. Maybe we should stop talking about it. But it's true. The Jenna Elfman, Giovanni Ribisi, Juliette Lewis, John Travolta, Tom Cruise. When's the last time any of them publicly promoted Scientology? I haven't heard it.
Is that a thing that you think they arrived at individually with just surveying the landscape? Or do you think that that was like a directive? Because I know that Scientology is involved with their celebrities and used to like talk about outreach and that sort of stuff. Or is that like a directive that they received? You also mentioned, I didn't know this, that Grant Cardone was a Scientologist and was asked about it on a podcast and sort of... To me, it was not suspicious, but to you, he was like, oh, he's not telling the whole truth about his involvement here. Because to me, he was just like, I'm kind of into it. Took a couple courses, got value, don't really go for some of the other stuff. And I'm curious if there's a bunch of questions in there. You can take them in any order. So
the first part of the question, it definitely would have been a directive. All the celebrities are dealt with personally by the president's office at the Celebrity Center. And just because you're a Scientology celebrity doesn't mean you have authorization from Scientology to talk about it in the press. Only certain people are allowed to talk about it. They get drilled on exactly what to say, how to answer questions, especially since these days, so many of the questions have to do with David Miscavige imprisoning people and beating people and all this kind of stuff. Back in the day, Scientology celebrities weren't asked about that kind of stuff. So Scientology doesn't want celebrities even answering questions about that kind of stuff. A directive would have come down dictating what people were allowed to say and not allowed to say. Even how, Grant Cardone, when someone starts to ask him a question about Scientology, he doesn't let them finish the question. You'll notice he cuts them off and he gives his answer to whatever he chooses was asked. That's how he would be drilled to handle those things. Grant Cardone is one of the biggest funders and recruiters for Scientology. That's the only reason I even talk about him on my channel. I don't really care about his real estate scams. That's just fun. He's one of Scientology. He's given over $30 million to Scientology. At this point, he's probably one of their biggest recruiters because Grant Cardone's whole business seems to hinge on reaching out to a young male audience who go, I want to be more like you. I want to be flashy like you. Well, Grant goes, well, the other way you can be like me is to join Scientology. Sure. He does get a lot of young people into Scientology, I don't know how sticky those recruits are. But yeah, so your first question was, would all these celebrities have, would there be a directive or would they have come to this conclusion on their own? There would have been a directive.
Interesting.
And Grant Cardone, I do wonder how much of what Grant Cardone does and says about Scientology is really appreciated by Scientology. But it's definitely
I don't go for that belief stuff. I got value out of the courses and I'm a practical guy, because that's sort of what he says, which to me matches at least his online persona is like, look, I'm here for practical, what works for me, not for big picture answers about the universe.
Yeah. I mean, how Grant responds to the stuff he responds to is pretty good from a Scientology perspective. It's just that Grant himself is so problematic. I'm sure Scientology would rather he just stop talking about it.
Got it.
That's my opinion.